Coming up on your horizon. Well, from late spring freezes to droughts that can stretch for years, Oklahoma has its share of wild weather. And while you can't do anything about the weather, you can make a living off of it. We begin our show today looking at the economics of weather.
It's really critical for Oklahomans, but all people that potentially are impacted by tornadoes, which can occur in any of the United States.
I sit down with the fluids geologist and ask him, is hydraulic fracturing causing earthquakes? And we meet some students letting their work speak for them. Stay with us for Oklahoma Horizon.
Oklahoma Horizon is made possible by the Oklahoma Department of Career and Technology Education.
Oklahoma's investment in career tech provides more than nationally recognized technology education and training. It produces solid financial returns for the state's economic future. Oklahoma Career Tech, elevating our economy.
And the Oklahoma Department of Agriculture, Food, and Forestry, helping good people grow good things. And now, from the Career Tech Studios in Stillwater, here's your host, Rob McClendon.
Hello everyone, thanks for joining us here on Horizon. Well, when it comes to the weather, Oklahoma is a hub of activity, even when there's not a storm cloud in sight. From tornado research to the latest in weather technology, you can't find a place where there are more people who know more and care more about the weather than right here at home. Joining me now is our Keela Kellen.
Well, Rob, following the weather is not just a favorite pastime for many Oklahomans. It is also a high-stakes business where millions of dollars can be at risk, which is why people from around the country gathered in Oklahoma City for the National Storm Summit. When the skies opened up and dark clouds were seen on the horizon,
you're helpless. You know, you can't do anything.
Jim Melvichek had few choices.
See?
Run or hide.
Built around the tree. Went right downstairs in the basement and just knelt down, and then it just hammered us. And I was scared.
A little worse the wear, Melvichek's home survived the twister.
A piece of a metal roof of a building somewhere came through my kitchen window there.
But with uprooted trees and repairs to be made, storm season can be a scary time, especially if not prepared. Which is why a National Storm Summit was held in Oklahoma City.
We've had some historic amounts of weather in the last decade in Oklahoma and throughout the Midwest. And so certainly it's not a question of if a storm is going to impact the Midwest, it's when and where. So again, this Tornado Summit brings a lot of people together to help in the awareness aspect and bring general awareness to the public. We're getting ready for spring storm season, so it's critical to continue to heighten awareness of this important issue.
It's making a tornado. Do you know why it's doing that?
John Weiscover of Oklahoma Farm Bureau Insurance helped to bring the summit to Oklahoma and says it's important to be ready when severe weather hits.
In Oklahoma, we've had the toughest 10 years from a catastrophe standpoint ever, and many of those events have been tornadoes. It's really critical for Oklahomans, but all people that potentially are impacted by tornadoes, which can occur in any of the United States, to be better aware of it, better prepared, and also what to do if you're in the path of a tornado, and then also certainly helping us as an industry better help people respond and help that recovery process.
But even the preparations can't keep Mother Nature at bay. Oklahoma Insurance Commissioner John Doak.
Last year was just tremendous. If you think about it, we had tornadoes and wildfires all across the state of Oklahoma. Tornadoes, 90 homes destroyed in Woodward, Oklahoma, in relatively 2.5 minutes, what it took for that to happen. We had tornado outbreaks in Norman, microbursts there, Norman, Piedmont, Tushka. We've had them all across the state of Oklahoma. Coupled with that is we had over 100,000 acres burned by Oklahoma wildfires last year. So the impact of insurance is really huge in the state of Oklahoma. The claims have been really probably approaching probably close to $1 billion last year. And then the year before that, you had the Joplin tornadoes right across the border in Missouri. So our corridor, we know it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when we're going to have bad weather.
A certainty that everyone here agrees often can't be avoided, but can be prepared for.
The best thing for Oklahoma consumers can do is, one, they need to know what their policy says in case they have a total claim or a loss due to severe weather. And if they're in rural Oklahoma and they have their home paid off, one of the things they need to think about is making sure that they have a good insurance policy on that, because most Americans, their single largest asset, and Oklahomans, is their home.
Which is why making sure you're covered and protecting your home can often be the key to staying safe. While people have discussed the weather forever, it is only in the last century or so that the cost of these events has been measured in terms of loss of life and property damage. For instance, the drought that began in 2010 is estimated to have cost the state over $2 billion in the last 2 years.
So in terms of economic impact, where does this latest drought that hopefully recent rains will put a damper on, where does it stack up monetarily?
Well, Rob, while the drought certainly was significant, it pales in comparison to some other disasters. But there are a couple of Oklahoma weather events that did make a top 10 list in terms of costs. And I have a link to those events on this week's Horizon blog, where I describe my firsthand experience of what it is like to have your home destroyed.
And that is certainly an interesting story that I think everyone is going to want to read. Thank you so much, Keila.
You're welcome, Rob.
Now, you can read that story and see much more on our website at okhorizon.com, including a story about a Norman-based company that's earned a reputation for its own weather prediction. Now, when we return, an Oklahoma business that saves lives.
You're watching Oklahoma Horizon, featuring some of the good things that are happening in the great state of Oklahoma.
Well, the May 3rd tornado that ripped its way through parts of Oklahoma in 1999 was one of those storms that was hard to survive unless you were in a storm shelter. By the time the storm ended, 50 people had been killed, more than 7,000 homes had been damaged, and more than 2,000 homes had been completely destroyed. A tragedy that spurred a Perry, Oklahoma company called Ground Zero to come into being, all in an effort to protect families from the whims of our weather.
Man, that thing is huge.
That's huge. I've never seen one that big.
Richard Crow knows firsthand the damage a tornado can do.
My family's house was hit with the tornado a couple of times.
May 3rd, 1999, a day Crow's family and many other lives changed forever.
My dad's house was actually hit and lost several barns and actually moved the house off the foundation a couple, 3 inches. It's actually completely gone now. Piled most of it in the basement and the rest out in the pasture.
So Crow decided to start a business that would protect his family and others. With welders working all around us, I talked to Crow about the business of making storm shelters.
We rolled them upside down. One of the reasons I got into this business is we couldn't afford to buy one. They were so expensive. And we got into business, and we've helped bring prices way down in the industry and make it to where more people can afford them. And the last thing you want to see is somebody losing family members because they couldn't afford protection.
Take his name and address.
So what began as a small family-owned business.
Up until last year, I actually had 4 generations helping. This is my first year. My grandmother hadn't helped. I think she just said, I think she's had enough.
Has now grown into one of the larger manufacturers in the industry, now delivering storm shelters in 18 states.
But the average storm shelter is going to cost around $3,000 in Oklahoma, and the short story is it's pennies on the dollars for insurance policy to get one. It's a lifelong investment if you buy it from a good company.
Ground Zero makes 3 types of storm shelters: metal safe rooms that can withstand an F5 tornado, outdoor cement shelters, and their most popular, in-ground metal shelters that can be installed in most any garage.
In the garage below ground is very popular in Oklahoma City area. The safe room's very popular in the Tulsa metro area, and then of course you got the concrete shelter that's most popular in the rural area.
Last year, Ground Zero sold over 5,000 storm shelters, and they have a warehouse full this year. And to keep up with that demand, that means workers. Everything from the welders who build the shelters.
They don't even grab a hold of it because it's so heavy.
To CNC operators who cut the heavy metal plates that the shelters are made of.
Welding is, in Oklahoma, especially right now, is a demanding career. Young people could go out there. There's always work. In the state of Oklahoma, with all the oil field going on and all the fabrication that we do, there's always a demand for welders.
In an industry that can give families peace of mind while saving their lives in those instances when the weather turns deadly.
You get a phone call after a tornado goes through and get someone who tells you, hey, appreciate you and thank you, and you know why you wake up and go to work every day. It's very cool.
Well, Ground Zero did earn some well-deserved publicity when a Slaughterville, Oklahoma family lost their home and all of their belongings in a tornado. And Crow's company took part in the television show Extreme Makeover to help them get back on their feet. A helping hand that Crow has also extended outside the bright lights of national TV when another storm shelter company went out of business, leaving many local families out their down payments, but no storm shelter in sight. Crow installed his own Ground Zero storm shelters in their place and discounted his work by the amount the families had already paid to his bankrupt competitor.
Still to come on Oklahoma Horizon, letting your work speak for you. But first, hang on for a bumpy ride.
Well, we have all heard someone say after a particularly violent storm, well, at least we don't have earthquakes here. Well, that's a little gem of conventional wisdom that may not be so accurate anymore. Joining us once again in studio is Todd Hallahan, an OSU geologist who studies fluids around the globe. So I guess my first question to you is this. It seems as if, and tell me if it is, that we are having more earthquakes here in the middle of America.
So in terms of having more, we feel like we're having more whenever you get a couple big ones to show up that people actually feel the earth shaking. And so if you go back in time, there's been times where Oklahoma's had earthquakes, but you have to go back 20, 30, 40 years to ones that were big enough that we noticed them. And so if you go to Missouri, they've had ones that were big enough to alter the Mississippi River and would be very damaging today, but it hasn't happened for a couple hundred years. And so if they were to have another one of those, geologically it wouldn't be surprising, but everybody would be stunned that it happened because they didn't expect that to happen because they don't feel them every day.
Now, can what we do as man, can that affect what happens to the earth? Can we make it move?
Yes, and so if you inject water into a fault, you can actually lubricate it a little bit, and if it's ready to slide already, it will be able to move. And so the first experiments that were really looking at that were out in Colorado back in the 60s, and they had a set of wells that they were wondering whether they were having more earthquakes, and so they started doing experiments to turn the system on, let it go for a while and monitor earthquakes, and then turn it back off and see if the earthquakes went down. And during the whole time they had earthquakes, but when they were injecting very hard into the fault area, they could make the number of earthquakes increase. You're trying to break the rock. I mean, hydraulic fracturing is your intent is I'm going to put enough fluids into this spot in order to actually crack this rock. And so that's done, but what's done is in very, very localized area, they actually break it in a bunch of little pieces because it's actually not that easy to break it. And you also want to be controlled about it because you want to create the fractures right around your wellbore to be productive. You don't make money if you fracture it inappropriately, you lose a lot of money. And so there's no drive for the industry to frack poorly because if they were going to do hydraulic fracturing and cause cracks at one places that they couldn't produce, it was a lot of wasted energy and resources for them. So it's done in stages and you stage through there. And that typically you can, by monitoring these systems and monitoring when it's done, you can demonstrate pretty clearly. It's pretty hard to generate anything of a large seismic. It's when that produced stuff comes out of the well and you've now got, wait a minute, I've got natural gas that I want, but I've also got water that I don't want because the quality is too low. You have choices, and so when you're going to get rid of that water, if you're up in Pennsylvania area where they're also doing hydraulic fracturing for the Marcellus Shale, there they don't have good places to inject water, and they haven't done that for a bunch of years, and so geologically they're a little stuck in terms of, I don't have any place to put this water that is not of drinking water quality.
Yeah, and do you think that reluctance to use it in some of those states is that we just kind of are protective of Mother Earth?
Sure, and what's interesting is a lot of times the oil and gas industry gets portrayed as those bad oil guys, and it's an interesting one because if a doctor is working on a patient, they're cutting into the patient, but it's not, well, he's a bad doctor, he's cutting up people. But in terms of investigating a problem that he's asked to solve, that's part of what he's doing. But he gets, okay, we're gonna work on this, and you're gonna cut into his leg. But a geologist, if we're going to, hey, we want to keep the lights on, and we're not too thrilled about nuclear right now, or we don't want a big coal-fired power plant, let's do natural gas. We like that. That seems to be clean burning, and we don't like it for this reason, that, but this seems like a good option for us, and it's a reasonable price. We don't mind heating our homes with something we can afford. Okay, so that's what you'd like to do. Let's try to do that in the most efficient way possible. And you know, when you develop new technologies, there are going to be things that you got to go, hey, wait a minute, let's look at that and see if this is a problem or not. So for the recent Boeing problem that they had with a battery in their airplane, and they had to go back and, hey, let's look at this problem. We don't want to have planes fall out of the sky. Well, there's nobody producing oil and gas that would want to have an earthquake generated. That's not good for their business. That's not good for them. And so they want to look and say, hey, is that something that we're doing that we need to alter what we're doing? Or at the same time, you got to worry about, well, is there something that's going to quake just because I'm there anyways? If I was standing there with a drill rig, or if I was standing there on my own 2 feet, it would have an earthquake anyways. And so I use rulers for this sort of thing. But
and you brought one with you?
I brought one with me, and it's a nice orange one. But in terms of thinking about places on the earth that you're going to go in and maybe inject some fluids, if there's no stress on it and it's just a ruler, it gets really hard to break. But if there's a lot of stress there, well, now it might be easier to cause something to happen. And so you've got to worry about what that is, and that's pretty hard to measure as to how stressed out the rocks are. You can do that in a laboratory, but it's pretty hard to do in the field.
So I guess the question I want to ask, can we tie a 4.6 to hydraulic fracturing, or a 5.7? Are those too large of what we're talking about from this hydraulic fracturing?
Earthquakes are a tricky business for prediction, and so we've looked at them for 100 years scientifically, and we've looked at what might cause them, and we've got a pretty good handle on what causes them and some of the effects, but predicting when and how big, you can predict general probabilities. That fault's probably going to go in the next 30 years at about this size. But getting nailed down is very tough, and some people use analogies of train cars, and that you've pulled the first train car, and now another one moves somewhere on the train, and you're just pulling a little bit, and you get the couplings to start cracking and bouncing, and you might move a train car here or there. But when you first start in that train car, it's not smoothly rolling along. You've got pieces and parts of the train moving. And so when you try to predict which car goes and how big it's going to go and how much movement's going to be there, we've had nobody successfully predicting earthquakes. I mean, we just had some of our colleagues in Italy were actually thrown in jail because they didn't predict an earthquake.
Okay.
And they came on TV, or they talked to the newspaper, and they said, we're seeing some small earthquakes. Do we know there's going to be a big one now? And they had some precursor earthquakes to a larger one. And they said, we don't have any evidence saying that these small ones will lead to a big one. And a big one happened. And so they've thrown them in jail because they didn't say we're going to have a big one. Well, they functionally couldn't predict it, but they were the ones being asked. And so it makes geologists a little nervous to come on TV, either to talk about hydraulic fracturing or talk about earthquakes, because there's now examples in the world of geologists being thrown in jail because they talked about the technical issue, but didn't make a prediction that people felt like they should be able to make.
Well, nervous or not, I thank you for being here, Todd.
Thank you.
All right. Now, we do have more from Todd Hallahan online. Just go to okhorizon.com, where I will ask him if all earthquakes are made the same. Want to share something you've seen here today? Well, all of our episodes are streaming on our YouTube channel at Oklahoma Horizon TV. Or you can subscribe to our weekly free podcasts on iTunes. Well, it is understandable that a deaf person could feel isolated in the workplace, missing out on informal conversations and office chatter that can happen out of their line of sight. But the young man in our next story is one who says his hearing impairment makes him more focused and able to concentrate on the task at hand. Our Alisa Hines explains.
Metal begins to glow when Joshua McElhaney starts to work.
Well, I wanted to become a welder, because I know there are different jobs in these areas that I would really like to do, but it was difficult to learn that on my own. So I wanted to take some courses and maybe advance. I know a little bit about welding, but I wanted to advance my skills. I wanted to become maybe a specialized welder in a certain area.
As you can tell, Joshua is deaf. And while we have an interpreter helping us with the interview, Joshua normally works without one. But that doesn't keep him from communicating in class.
So he shows me things until I understand. I had no interpreter here. There was no interpreter, but he's been very good to communicate with me.
Matthew Sewell is his instructor.
At first it was a little difficult, but when he come in wanting in the program, he asked me to help him become a pipe welder, and I said, I will if you help me to learn how to sign, and he said, I will.
I'll teach him a few signs, and he knows a little bit now, but he teaches me welding, and I've taught him a little bit of signs.
Using body language and even some homemade signing, Joshua helps the younger students in his class.
I wish he would stay and wouldn't ever leave because he's helped me out quite a bit in the shop. I have shop foremen, weekly shop foremen, but he's like a full-time shop foreman. He helps me out, keeping an eye on everything, and whenever I have students working on projects, he'll step in and help them out also because he's a pretty advanced student.
And the future looks bright for Joshua.
Well, my goal when I graduate, I would like to go maybe working in the pipelines, construction, or in the oil field, working on the pipelines or gas lines, construction, working with the welding.
If he wanted to put a truck together, put a welder on it, he's already state certified, so he's good to go. The opportunities for Josh, there's going to be a lot of them because he's an advanced welder. He's got a state certification, and he's a driven individual.
Lighting up the world, one weld at a time.
Well, other hearing impaired workers are finding success here in the state thanks to unique programs at Career Tech centers designed to help deaf students gain the skills they need to compete in today's workplace. Now, our Andy Barth visited with some young people at the Moore Norman Technology Center to see how this hands-on, targeted education is impacting their lives.
At Moore Norman Technology Center, students like Natalie Brown take a hands-on approach when learning about computers. But for Natalie, working with her hands is as common as breathing.
I love computer, and I'm always on a computer. I like learning how to work on them. And like one day, my computer messed up, and I called one of the technicians, and it cost a lot. So I decided that it's better for me to come to school to learn how to do it, so I can learn how to fix it on my own.
Brown is one of the deaf education students learning how to be successful in a career and says she can help others like her when a computer problem arises.
I'm a technician where I can help others work on their computer and help deaf, because I know sometimes deaf people have a hard time communicating with hearing, so I can try to help them understand how to fix their computer.
Now, every deaf person is different. Not all of them are able to speak for themselves because English is a second language to them, and they can't hear the pronunciation. Meet Cody Thomas, a machining student and rodeo man.
I love to ride bulls and a roping team. I participate in ranch rodeos. I ride horses a lot.
And while his passion is riding bulls, Thomas says not everyone shared his enthusiasm.
I've quit riding bulls because of my mom.
After school, Thomas hopes to bring in big money.
Look for a job, hopefully in the area, possibly at Tinker.
And computer-aided design student Josh Lanchey is learning to create and design new ideas.
I love the art. I'm artistic. I like math. I like measurements, engineering, all those kinds of things.
And Lanchey says he hopes to become an entrepreneur.
I plan to work for a company or at some point own my own business in CAD.
And aside from school, Lanchi gives back to his community.
I've done police training with the academy, teaching them sign language, how to communicate with deaf people. You know, because when they pull over somebody, they don't have time to get an interpreter.
A program that helps the hearing impaired help themselves and others.
Next time on Oklahoma Horizon, we take a look at some conventional wisdom that some believe, while conventional, may not be very wise. We'll talk to the author of a new book called The Food Police that disputes some widely held beliefs about the food we eat. And we visit an Oklahoma company that proves heavy manufacturing in America is far from dead. Some unconventional, conventional wisdom on Oklahoma Show for the Heartland, Oklahoma Horizon. Well, we are out of time. I'm Rob McClendon. Thanks for watching. See you back here next week.
Horizon is made possible by the Oklahoma Department of Career and Technology Education and the Oklahoma Department of Agriculture, Food, and Forestry. Thank you for watching Oklahoma Horizon.